Once again, Alexey Navalny is paying a high price for his criticism of the Kremlin, as a court sentenced him to 3.5 years in prison. The judge found Navalny guilty of breaking probation, failing to report to Russian police over an embezzlement charge. The fact he was in hospital in Berlin was not accepted. Navalny was there recovering from nerve agent poisoning he alleges was carried out by the Russian state. Outside the court, a major show of force from police, rounding up and detaining Navalny supporters who call not only for his release, but for the release of Russia from Putin's rule.
Одним словом, беспредел.
This is total lawlessness. You can think whatever you want about Alexey Navalny as a politician, but the problem is that if such high-profile people can be arrested in a live television broadcast without a reason, it means that people like you and I, unknown people, they can do whatever they want to us.
This trial is a sham, like many other trials in Russia. This is a politically motivated case. He was poisoned in Russia, but that crime is not under investigation. He returned to Russia and they have jailed him straight away. Everything that is going on has nothing to do with justice.
After days of nationwide rallies, detention centres are overflowing. And despite the threat of new sanctions from the West, the Kremlin has shrugged off criticism from the US and Europe and continues to deny that Navalny was ever poisoned.
We've still not had an answer for on what basis the Swedish military laboratory made their conclusion that Mr. Navalny was poisoned by an agent from the Novichok group.
In the last 10 years, Navalny has been jailed more than 10 times. Many working for his anti-corruption network have now been detained, and his spokeswoman is under house arrest. But his lawyers promise to appeal against his verdict, while he asks people in and outside Russia to continue putting pressure on Putin. Charlie Angela, Al Jazeera.
OK, that's what's happened inside the courtroom in the last 90 minutes or so. Our correspondent, Alexandra Godefroy, is outside that courtroom for us here on the News Hour. So, Alexandra, we probably won't see him because he's going from being held in detention behind bars to being behind bars.
Well, indeed, we are not going to see him. He is going to be actually first brought back to his penal detention center where he is kept, because there is this 10 days for appeal process, and his lawyers did announce that they will appeal. But there is not really a lot of people in Russia that believe that appeal might help him. So most probably after 10 days have passed, so after, if they lose the appeal, then he will be then transferred into a prison by the choice of the court.
What does this do to his political aspirations?
Well, you see, when he left Russia, and he left it in a coma, he left it in a medical plane, it was one kind of a politician that was outspoken against Putin, that was pointing out the corruption. But the opposition basis here in Russia is not very big and was smaller than, so he was not the one that maybe everybody that doesn't like Putin liked him. But when he returned, the way he returned in a manner that was daring, that showed the bravery. And then it was also discovered, as we see in the protests, that his support base is much bigger. He returned as an opposition politician number one, and number one opponent to Putin. So being 2.5, or as Judge put it more precisely, 2 years and 8 months in prison, might not harm his political career, but if other charges come in and they are pending on some new embezzlement case, and that results in more years in prison, then no one can tell what kind of a politician will come out of that prison then.
Alexandra, what was your reading of his kind of emotional equilibrium? Because when he was in court, standing up inside that glass box, waiting for the judgment, he looked very sanguine. He was laughing and joking with his supporters. He was making the heart symbol with his hands. He clearly knew what was coming his way, and it didn't apparently faze him one little bit.
Well, indeed, the heart symbol that he drew on the glass was meant for his wife, which was there present for this hearing and present at the trial. They were exchanging gestures for which they got reprimanded by the judge reading the verdict at that point. From the very beginning, when he was arrested at the airport, when he landed from Germany, he was in the beginning quite sure that the law is on his side. But after he was arrested on what he and his lawyers called an unlawful warrant, then after that, when he first appeared, he was very clear that this is a whole charade, that it is a political showcase process which is meant to scare not only him but also millions that support him and are against Putin regime. So the way he behaved in court, sarcastically responding to the questions like why he didn't report, saying, well, I was not aware of you because I was not aware of myself, I was in a coma. It is actually to show the brave face, but also he earlier showed that he has no doubt that they will change his suspended sentence into a real prison time.
Very briefly, Alexandra, do you think this might make him more popular, not less popular?
Oh, definitely, yes, because this is how people reacted. First of all, he was hailed for his move to return back to Russia when there was a warrant for his arrest, where he was already being called by some officials that some foreign secret services are behind him. So that already brought him a lot of sympathy amongst the population, but also the way this process has been handled amongst the oppositionally minded people is seen as outrage. So for sure, yes, this will buy him more support, definitely.
Alexandra, thank you very much. That's his wife there outside the courthouse speaking to assembled reporters and journalists as soon as we get a sense of what she's saying, although I guess at one level it is probably quite predictable what she will be saying. She'll be saying he's a strong man. She will probably be saying we fight on, we fight to win. She will be saying this was a sham trial and we will carry on with our drive of opposition, trying to stand up against Vladimir Putin, the Russian president. But that's my speculation. We don't know that's what she's saying. As soon as we get a sense of what she has been saying, we'll bring it to you here on the NewsHour. Well, Nina Khrushcheva is a professor of international affairs at the New School in Moscow. She says President Vladimir Putin is wary of Navalny's growing popularity.
Putin, we know, does not like revolutions because more than anything, given Russian history, probably justified. He's terrified of losing power. He's also a man of great ambition to be a great man. And so if Navalny can take him down, then he's no longer, or he's not going to be considered a great man. So that is a little bit kind of a vindictive or KGB vindictive part of Putin. But I think more than anything is that by his existence, he cannot be allowed to continue his work, at least in a space that is legally allowed, so to speak. And that's why when we follow the trial, I mean, it is, like for me, I study a lot of, kind of Stalinist purges of 1937. I mean, this is a farcical trial, which has absolutely no legal basis, which Navalny, in fact, said. And he also said very well at this trial is that they try to scare me because scaring me, one man, it's also mean that they're scaring you.